Working as a CCTV security guard is easy, right? You just watch the screen, make sure no one breaks in, and that will be that, right? You just sit down and wait until your shift is over and you can go back home. Easy job, right? Well, that's not always the case. Sometimes you'll find something that you probably weren't supposed to see on those CCTV cameras. And this story is a really, really good example. So, join me, ladies and gentlemen, as we take a look at the story of the strangest security tape I've ever seen. I work at a gas station in rural Pennsylvania. It's a boring job, but it's pretty easy and the pay's alright. A few weeks ago, this new guy started. I'll just call him Jeremy. Jeremy was weird. He's about 25 or 26 and he hardly speaks. He's got the creepiest laugh I've ever heard. My boss and I both noticed this, but it's never been a problem, so there's not much we can do about it. Customers have never complained about him and he's always done his job fairly well. Up until a few weeks ago, anyways. That's where things started to go missing. Employee theft can be a problem at any business that sells consumer goods. And there was only one person working at a time at the gas station. It's a pretty small place. And about 2 weeks ago, my boss started noticing that we were short on motor oil. At first, it was a few containers at a time. Then entire shelves and boxes from the back room. Pretty soon, entire shipments would be gone the day after we got them. And would always be right after Jeremy's shifts. My boss had checked the security camera tapes from every single night he worked, but he could never catch him in the act. Jeremy would lock up at closing, then the motor oil would be gone the next day. My boss usually takes the tapes home with him to try and catch Jeremy stealing, but his daughter had a softball game last night, so he asked me to watch the tape for him. He offered to pay me overtime under the table, so obviously I took the offer. There are 3 tapes, so he gave me 3 different tapes to check. I figured it would be a long night, but I'm trying to save it for presentation, so I really needed the money. I took the tapes home and popped them in an old VCR and sat back. 2 days ago, the last time he woke, Jeremy started at 4 p.m. Everything seemed pretty normal at first. He counted up his drawer, switched off with the girl who was working before him, and waited for a customer. The person who came in was Mrs. Thompson. The timestamp on the video read 4:03, a regular. She picked up her cigarettes and a newspaper, and paid with a 20. Nothing unusual there. The next customer was some local guy named Juan. He drives a motorcycle, usually comes in every few days. He fills up his tank, got a bag of beef jerky, paid with his credit card, and then left. Next was some guy with a cowboy hat. I never seen him before, but we got plenty of strangers passing through, just like at any gas station. He got $40 worth of diesel fuel, paid with a $100 bill, and went on his way. I sat back inside. The only thing more boring than doing this job is watching someone else do it. My boss's offer was enough to keep me watching though, so I left the tape on. Everything seemed pretty normal. I had a feeling that if Jeremy was stealing motor oil, he knew we were suspicious of him by now. I didn't expect him to be dumb enough to let us catch him on camera. Things stayed boring and routine until about 5 o'clock. At 5:03, Mrs. Thompson came back in. She must have forgotten something, but she didn't. She bought the same pack of cigarettes as before. and the same newspaper. She paid with another 20. That's odd, I thought. But then again, she's a little absent-minded. I thought Jomi would have told her she already got her smokes, but it's not against the rules to sell somebody the same thing twice. That's when Ron came in again. He brought out another tank of gas. For his motorcycle again. I let her check the alcohol can because I thought maybe he had another car he wanted to fill up. And the same pack of beef jerky. He paid with his credit card again. No big deal, I figured. I figured this was just a real coincidence. Miss Thompson is forgetful and Ron probably owned more than one Humphrey. That's when the guy in the cowboy hat came back in. I felt a chill run down my spine. Don't get Diesel, don't get Diesel, don't get Diesel. I found myself whispering to my empty living room. But he did indeed get Diesel. He got $40 worth of diesel fuel, in fact, and paid with another $100 bill. Every move he made was identical to his first visit, right down the way he scratched his nose before he walked out. Either this guy's rich, owns a lot of trucks, and just moved into town, or something really wrong was happening. Out of sick curiosity, I kept watching. Every customer for the next hour was the same as before. Every single one. I was seriously freaked out. And then, at 6:03, Miss Thompson walked back in. She bought her cigarettes and newspaper again, and paid with a 20 again. I thought I was going to lose it. I only watched another half hour before I started fast forwarding through the West. It was all the same. Every customer would come in at the exact same times, exactly 1 hour apart. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sneaky motherfucker Jomi had messed with the tapes. He had run a loop of the first hour of business over and over. No, that wasn't the case. There are windows around the cash register area that the camera covers, and I watched the sunlight fade as time went on. Jomi's routine didn't loop over either. He swept, mopped, restocked, and did all his duties exactly how you would expect. But the same customers keep coming in over and over and over again. I was starting to panic at this point. Something was seriously wrong with what I was seeing, and I had no explanation for it. I skipped ahead to when he locked up and walked out to his car. He hadn't stolen anything, but I kept watching, just to make sure. I fast forward one last time to about midnight. At exactly 12:03, out of nowhere, Jomi's face popped up on the camera. I don't mean he moved his head into view. I mean that 1 second the store was empty, and the next second his face was all I could see. He wasn't looking at the camera. He was looking at me. I was sure of it. I just knew he was. I screamed and fumbled for the remote. By the time I grabbed it, he was gone. Just as soon as he had left. One frame he was there, the next he wasn't. My hands were shaking like crazy. But I popped in another tape. The other indoor camera shows the back area by the cash register, and I will be able to see how he got up to put his face in the camera like that. I skipped ahead to 12:03, but there was nothing. I would have been able to see him standing on a tail or something on this tape, but he wasn't there. I didn't see him enter the store at all after he left. It's like he wasn't really there. He doesn't know the security code, and no alarms were triggered that night after he locked up. What I did see, however, was that at 12:03, the motor oil vanished off the shelf. All of it. Same as Jomi's face. 1 second it was there, the next it wasn't. I turned that damn tape off and went to bed, but I didn't get a wink of sleep. My body is exhausted right now, but my mind is racing. That tape was undoubtedly the most creepiest, most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. I woke in a few hours. My boss asked me to bring the tape back in and let him know what I found, but really, what the hell am I going to say? Jomi works the night shift tonight, directly after me, and the plan is for my boss to come in just before I leave and confront him with me, as I'm supposed to be the one who caught him stealing. I have no idea what I am going to do. I suppose I have to show my boss the tapes, but I don't want to watch them with him. I never want to see something like that again. I can't get that image of Jomi just smiling directly into the camera out of my mind. It's the creepiest look I've ever seen on another human being's face I've ever seen. Anyways, I'm going to try to get some last minute sleep before I have to go in and deal with this. I'll let you guys know what happens. Update, 2:49 p.m. Update for my phone. Apologies in advance for any errors. My boss just finished watching the last of the tapes. I told him what to expect, but really, you can't really prepare someone for something like that. He's still shitless. I'm still him too. And Jomi is due to come in at 4. We got a little over an hour to get our shit together. But neither one of us knows what to say to him. Is he just some fucked up guy who likes to steal more oil and scare the shit out of people? Or is he something else? I don't know if this is gonna sound crazy, but does anyone think he could have anything to do with the time loop? My boss said he never notices anything like that in the other tapes, but the way he popped up in this one made me think he knew I would be watching. It's like he wanted me to see what he could do, like he was showing off or something. The way he smiled into the camera was just like a little kid showing you his new favorite thing at a show and tell or something. I don't know. I probably sound crazy. I still feel the part. I'm going to talk to my boss some more. We have to calm ourselves down and figure out how to handle this. I'll update again tonight. But I have a really bad feeling about how this is going to play out. Update, 4:33 p.m. No sign of Jomi. Tried calling him, but his phone is disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 5:33 p.m. No sign of Jomi. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 6:33 p.m. No sign of Jomi. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 7:33 p.m. No sign of Jomi. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 8:33 p.m. No sign of Jomi. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 10:58 p.m. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I just got home and saw my previous updates. Things make less sense now more than ever. Here's what I can tell you. I went to work, Jomi never showed up. My boss and I decided to call the police, as you're all aware at this point. When I picked up the phone to call though, the sun went out. I shit you not, that's what I thought happened. Apparently I blacked out for exactly 5 hours, because when I looked at the clock it was 9:33. I think I got stuck in Jomi's time loop, and when I stopped out of it at the exact point I blacked out. If that makes any sense. But that's where things get really weird and fucked up. My boss was right next to me when I blacked out, way to corroborate my story to the cops. When I came to, the phone was in my head, but it was dead. Not even a dial tone. My boss was still there, but he wasn't moving. He was standing up, but he was like frozen like a statue. I looked at the car again, and it wasn't moving. The second hand was stuck on the 12. It was exactly 9:33 exactly. The clock on the register, the computer screen, wasn't moving either. My phone was also frozen. There was even a customer at the register waiting for my boss to get him cigarettes. I'm betting that would have been his thick pack of the day. I got the fuck out of there. Didn't lock up, didn't turn the lights out. I am sorry, everyone. I didn't grab the security tapes to upload them onto the internet. Believe me, that was the last thing on my mind. The gas station is on a major highway, and cars will park all along it. Except they weren't parked. They were frozen. The people inside were standing still as wax statues. I got in my car and prayed that it would start. And thankfully it did. About halfway home, time started up again. The static from the radio turned into music, like it was supposed to be. And from what I could tell by listening to the host talk in between songs, no one noticed the time freeze, or whatever the hell it was. I was the only one. Well, I'm sure Jeremy noticed as well. I still have no clue where he is or what he's doing. I'm hiding in my room and calling the police again in the morning. I don't know if I ever got through to them before, or if I did, whether they took me seriously or not. I'm scared for my life right now. I'll update tomorrow, if I can. Final update, 10:33 a.m. I finally fell asleep last night around 4. I had no idea how I did it. I guess exhaustion and finally got the best of me. This morning I woke up to my phone ringing. It was my boss. He's been calling me since about 6. He woke up when time started back up on last night and immediately called the cops. They came by to see what was wrong and he told them everything. The cops around here were all small-time guys. They were more concerned about the missing motor oil than anything else. But my boss figured he would take it, as long as he had their attention. They decided to go looking for Jeremy. We kept all our employee applications on file, and since Jeremy just started working here, he was very easy to find. They checked the address on it and headed over to his house. You are not going to believe what they found. The address Jeremy listed on his application was an empty lot. At least now it is. There used to be a house there, but it burned down all the way back in 1993. Being a small town, almost everyone remembers that fire. A family of 4 used to live there way back when. Rumor has it that they had an estranged son who they never really talked about, but I can't say for sure if that's true or not. What I can say is true is that after an intense investigation, the fire was ruled an arson. The entire house was soaked in oil and torched with a Molotov cocktail. The entire family was sleeping when it happened. None of them survived. They never caught the guy who did it. Rumor has it that they tried to contact the estranged son, but no one could ever find him. Anyways, my boss called and told me this, and I freaked out. Then he asked me to come to the gas station. What? Are you crazy? I said, but he assured me that the cops were there with him. Then he dropped the bomb. The FBI were also in town and they were going to talk to me one way or the other. so I might as well come in. It was about 7:15 and I wanted to get back to bed, but I figured I wouldn't be able to sleep much more anyway, so I went down. 4 men in suits greeted me and told me to have a seat. We went over everything 2 or 3 times until they got all the details down. I told them about Jomi, the security tapes, last night at work, everything. Finally, after I finished, one of the agents said, "Oh God, we got another one in our hands." Then they made me sign a bunch of papers saying I wouldn't tell anyone about what happened. So I can't say much more. I may be breaking the law just by posting this. So now I'm home. I'm not sure what to do with myself. That agent's words when I told him the story are going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Anyways, I gotta go. I have some errands to run today, and then I have to go to work to pick up some tapes. My boss and I think this new guy, Jomi, he's a total creep, is stealing motor oil. I have to watch the security force to see if I can catch him doing it. I have better things to do, but my boss is paying me overtime, under the table, and I'm trying to save up from vacation, so I could really use the money. It should be pretty simple. The oil always goes missing right after his sifts. I figured I'll just wash the tapes, catch him in yak, and that will be that. A simple in and out job. Nothing bad can happen. Right?